Hey there and welcome to Tailslaters. We're back. I know it's been a while and I won't bore you with the details. Let's talk about pre-rigging and how it can help you accomplish something that might otherwise not be accomplishable. The whole idea behind pre-rigging is setting up a scene before the main production team gets there. And oftentimes it's used in bigger productions that have enough of a budget where they can have separate teams. They can have what's called a pre-rig team. The pre-rig team usually has its own gaffer, called a rigging gaffer, their own key grip, and on and on. And it can be as big or as small as the budget and the project requires, and there can be multiple rigging teams as well. The pre-rig team would go, it could be the day before, it could be several days before, whatever makes sense for the schedule, obviously. They go in with all the tools they need, and this is often where like money can get inflated because you need to have enough fixtures, enough gear to rig ahead while the production team is off shooting whatever you rigged before. Magic of pre-rigging plus DMX control. Pretty damn spectacular. We'll watch a little clip, it's a 48-second clip of our Tailslaters Halloween special featuring Nathan, not in his premiere role because he's done movies and commercials before. Yeah, we're recording. Hopefully, I hope we're recording. So I have the frame a little bit wide just so you can see some of the world, some of our pre-rigging as it were. I'm using polecats to span some walls. You could also use wall spreaders. I have another polecat here. Everything's pushing against the wall. Trying to hang something, what's the word I'm looking, perpendicular to the pipe, it's gonna want to slide. This is a 2x2 fixture, so I want to be able to maneuver it this way. So you're gonna start to run into the pipe. So I'm gonna try, I have kind of a longer, older style gobo head along with the Cardellini. I'm gonna see if I can get enough out of this to get where I need to go. I didn't bring a short arm. You could also use a short arm. I don't have one of those with me. I think it's gonna be okay, especially for Nathan. Again, this was all meant for, you know, a short little munchkin. But just showing you, if it's new to you, strength of an LCD. And they make different degree LCDs. That gives you more focusing control. But as I tilt down, you can see at the top how it feathers off. And you know, for Nathan, I probably would do something maybe like this. But I also could add a flag here and drape a flag down and start to cut some of it off, which is probably what I will end up doing in the long run. People are probably asking like why, if you're doing this and it's this low in this, and I probably already said it, but if we're doing this and it's this low in the scene, when the camera turns around this way, if I was standing over here, let's say, this is all a problem in our world. But the scene is made for, like I said, my son, for a 5-year-old who is yay high. So when we do turn around, we're going to be looking at half the window, we're going to be looking down here. It's usually a good idea to put duvetine behind. It's got like little feet for the walls, which I will show in the video. It's usually a good idea to add some extra cushioning, especially like on a wall spreader. You can also use pancakes on the sides. Just something to help spread out the weight, that is pushing into the wall, and also just trying to not leave marks behind. You're basically using the tension pushing this way into a wall to keep weight up. And that's another good point, is you really don't want to put too much weight on these. You want to put the proper amount of weight for whatever it is you're using. In this case, Varipoles, yeah, I wouldn't go too much. It's something like an Infinibar. Over here, I've got an F22C. Probably wouldn't go like too much beyond stuff like that. Especially like if you want to then also have like the controllers and other things that you got up there. It's something I remember asking early days in Grip and Electric. I remember asking the gaffer and key grip. We were hanging. I think it was a light mat 4 off of. It was a 2x4 wood wall spreader. I'm like, how much could this take? And they literally just both like took it and went, should be good. And I'm like, okay. So, but you always want to be respectful of people's houses, their I was about to say equipment, but their furnishings, their houses, anything that's theirs. Just be respectful of your environment, so that maybe they'll invite you back. Now, pre-rig doesn't come free, and that's the trick. That's what we're talking about here. Nothing comes free. So, in often case on this channel, we're trying to talk about how can we kind of subvert the system. How, in my case, like how could I make a movie? If I wanted to make a movie, you want to look at the things that are going to take money and time, and oftentimes, time turns into money and vice versa. So pre-rigging requires a crew to do it. But you could think about what locations do you have available? Let's say your shoot has 17 locations. You're like, well, does it really need 17 unique individual locations? Can I compress some of that down while not affecting the integrity of the story, the quality of the story? Are things a requirement to make the story interesting? I know I'm getting off on a rambly tangent, but the main purpose of this video is trying to make something way more impressive than you could have done if you did everything in the standard. Everyone shows up, the truck unloads, you set it up, the directors are directing talent, you're blocking things, you're all talking, you're all communicating really well, you're not wasting time, but still everything is going to take time. It does take a lot of minutes. So the pro side of the pre-rig is that it allows you to kind of jumpstart your shoot. You have things in locations, you're not waiting for all this setup, all this rigging to be finished before you can start. That also requires a lot of pre-planning. The con side of it is you really have to be fairly locked in with your plan. Like, what are you shooting? Do you have a shot list? Do you know where the camera's going to be? Do you know what it's going to be looking at? Where's the sun going to be? Do you have a plan for all of those considerations that the pre-rig takes into account? So just talking about the con side, it requires a lot of pre-planning. It requires sticking to your shot list. And like I always like to say, I mean, don't be so rigid with your plan that you disallow creativity. But everything comes with a cost. If you suddenly get there and you have the most amazing viral idea in the world, like, hey, why don't we do this? This is the most amazing thing. No one's ever done it. And they're like, yeah, it's going to cost us an extra hour. We're going to either go into overtime or we're not going to be able to go to location 3 or something. There are offsets. So, make it as rigid as you want. Again, off in tangent land, I am using the Sidus Link Pro. So let's clear the stage. Okay, so that turns everything off. So that's everything off. The only thing I have functioning that is actually part of the scene, it's not DMX controllable. Can you stop, please? It's not DMX controllable. I have a Kino Flow 2-foot 4-bank out on the porch, just pointing up at the ceiling. It's flagged off from actually coming in the room, and it's bouncing back down, just so you can see outside of it, and it's not absolutely. I know. That's what we're working on, bringing lights back. I'm trying to show people what nothing looks like. So right now, there's really not much. There's a little ghost Halloween guy in the corner that's giving a little glow. So let's just see what we got and go around the room. So let's first. This is the F22C, and I will show the lighting diagram. And let's bring that up. So this is our main key. Up at 19%, I think I had it. Let's come down to 19%, and we were at 6,500. I was 6,500 for nighttime. And then after that, we have the Infinibar behind us. Let's bring that up. So if you want to move that around, bring that up a little bit. So that's behind us. And I think I had that at 3,200 because it was supposed to be kind of motivated by the warmth from the outside. Well, we're not doing different colors yet. We're trying to show the people what we did. I know you like green. I know you like green, but we talked about just trying to show people what we did because this card only has so much space on it, and if we have to wait for it to transfer, it's going to take a long time, and then it's going to be bedtime. All right, so for outside, which is far in the background, and Ethan's big head is in the way. Let's go ahead and we have a 300X. Again, I'll show this on the lighting diagram. So as I bring this up in the background, this is just so you can see some of the foliage out there and not fall to like a pit of darkness. So Nathan, we bend out of the way. So it's actually it's got a Fresnel on it. And I'm not worried too much about diffusing it simply because, it's a background element. So I'm just raking it across. I think I did have it at like 6,500 or so, which I think is the max on the 300X. You're really I just want you to know, Nathan, how helpful you are in all situations. And I think I just had it at just enough of a level. We also had, now when he walked out, I have an Infinibar floating above. Again, I'll show the lighting diagram. I do have it vertical and kind of at an angle to keep it off of this back wall. And I did also add some extra cinefoil as like a little bit of an extra flag just to keep it off of this wall. That's usually an important thing in making movies, is keeping light off of things you don't want it on, and a lot of times that's walls, especially light color walls, which is not very cinematic. You can see this over here. So the key is banging off of this guy here. So I think in the scene I tried to minimize this, and I had a negative also here, just on the edge of frame, just to give that extra, extra contrastiness. So again, this isn't really useful. I'm just showing where it is, but it's not really useful for me. I'm not going to use it for me. It was just for when he walked out of the room, just to give him a little something to walk through. So he wasn't just like, just mud against mud, if that makes sense to anyone who's out there. All right, other than that, we've got the Lightstorm. This is 600C. I have out back. This is going to be for our lightning, but right now I'm just going to turn it on so you can see where it is. And actually, I have both. Did I set it for both? That's right, that's what I did. So originally I had the 600C. I had 2 different channels set with a lightning effect on it, and I'm doing 100%, I'm doing lightning, why not just set them both to the same channel, which is a thing you can do. I could set them independently to their own channel and assign lightning to both of them. I cannot group them and assign lightning. That's something interesting. We talked before about Sidus Link Pro, and that you kind of get the effects for free. If anyone's watched my former videos, you cannot group those fixtures and get to the effects, even though they both have lightning. They both have lightning in the menu. I wonder what this is. So I have some extra stuff in the room. It's just kind of bothering me that it's creating extra shadows and stuff, but whatever. It's not that important. It just kind of bothers me. So you got this guy here. I can move this out of the way, and I will, because it is bothering me. So we were getting a kind of a cool, what is that? No, what is that? Oh, that's the ghost. Okay, that's fine. So this, I'm pointing at the monitor, it's not helping you at all. That shape on the door is the actual Halloween ghost. So I could go up a little higher, because that is bugging me too. Let me do that. What's up, buddy? All right, so it's not exactly the pattern as it was before, but you can see outside there's some actual palm fronds that are just, actual palm fronds in the real world, and giving kind of a nice little texture on its own. So I think, other than that, I also had another Infinibar back in Nathan's room, which doesn't really affect anything here. You could see it coming out of his room. So one of the key things I think for this pre-rig, and again, we're getting a little bit more into lighting design than pre-rigging, but that's what always happens, is I felt like having the lightning flashes feel like it's affecting the whole house is what really helps sell it. So having the one, always confused with 3D space, the one that's painted back here, which right now is just on, this one here, there was one coming out of the his room as he came out, and all 3 of those were happening simultaneously. I think that helps make it feel like more of an environment versus if it just came through, let's say, the back window. It's, it's still an effect. I think it still works, having the sound effect of the lightning. But I think having 3 that spread out across this wide image and they all flash in unison, I think really did help. I didn't want to spend all night shooting this thing with him. I knew he was going to get bored, and he did. The very first setup, after we did it twice, and I said, "Hey, can you go back and do it again?" Because he was kind of scratching his butt. And I asked him, "Can we do that one more time?" And he looked at me and he goes, "Why?" As if to say, "I did it perfectly. What? Why? How'd you screw up?" And he didn't say all that. That's how it felt when he said it. Long story short, I didn't want to be spending all night doing something. It's supposed to be fun, supposed to be, and the whole point is just to show the strength of having a pre-rig, an idea, a plan. If you have a location that you have ready access to, where I could do this whenever I wanted. If I had an hour here or 30 minutes here or there during the day, I could, let's set up this light. Okay, let's run this wire. Let's tidy up the wire and get it to power. Let's, preset as much as I could. And then anything else I had that was going outside, I did preset as well inside. I kept it and I staged it. I just didn't put it outside. But again, we're talking about pre-rigging when one has time, investing, that kind of sweat equity into a project. And suddenly, being able to make, hey, you made this feature-length movie or whatever it is in like 10 days or something ridiculous, or people are like, how is that even possible? There is no shortcut to that. The shortcut is, it's like anything else. It can be, what is it? It can be fast and cheap, but it's not going to be good. It can be fast and good, but it's going to be expensive. You know the idea. It's really hard to get around that if you find ways to inject the time. So anyway, using stylistic money, you could also use blackout. I think I may do a version of this with blackout, not with this setup, with something else, but the value of pre-rigging, whether it's your time or someone's time. It's someone's time. If they're not being paid, obviously it's someone who loves you or loves your project and wants to make something way more amazing than one could do without. Something where maybe you and two other guys are like, hey, you know what, if we could get together, we could make a movie. And you're like, yeah, but okay, how are we gonna do this? Well, maybe we can take this great idea, maybe we can make 4 main locations work. Okay, I'm not talking on maybe there's like little B-roll things, little splinter team things that you can do out on the street, whatever. I'm not going to get into specific details, like things, that you could like to help fill in your movie or whatever. Maybe you can say, okay, 4 main locations. Okay, we can use your house, your house, your house, or your house, you have a business, whatever, and you can give us like the back area, whatever. Again, I'm getting into specifics. In this world that I have here, I was able to turn 360 degrees. I could have filled this place in with fog, but I thought that was a little bit much. Again, with dealing with trying to get my kid to be able to go back and play and not be like tied up doing all this. And Nathan, do you want to come play some buttons? Nathan? He fell asleep while I was doing all the boring technical stuff. He really wanted to press buttons and play with colors, which is like his favorite thing to do in this scenario. But I think right now he'd rather sleep. So anyway, I think that's the main thing. Trying to make a small little movie feel expensive. Again, there are little details, like I said, with like, the 300X out there. Having all this lighting on, if I bring the 300X in, and I just turn it down, this could have worked fine. It just felt like it was nice to feel the world out there a little bit. It felt like it added a little bit more, production value. I'm looking at I know I'm looking at the monitor, not at you. And I didn't want to, you can go too crazy where it feels, a little sourcey. So just trying to get it to a place where it feels reasonable. One could argue, if one so chose, to have a lightning effect hit those 2. But I only wanted to take so many fixtures from the office. So anyway, what you can do with a small team and some forethought to accomplish things that are otherwise unaccomplishable. A lot of words, a lot of syllables. Hopefully that all made sense. I think I said it to begin with. If I did not, this entire thing, the Halloween special, was me and Nathan, no one else. I did the dolly move. I had Spider on a rope. If you watch it frame by frame, and I would probably even not frame by frame, but at the beginning you can see there's a little foreground scare of the Spider scrambling across, and that's literally just me finishing my dolly move, picking up the rope and just yanking it and trying not to hit the camera, and then trying to get Nathan to jump around at the same time, which was, not easy. But anyway, I mean, yeah, cuteness overrides, I think, in this situation. I think we probably spent maybe a grand total of like 20 minutes shooting with him walking out, spinning around, looking underneath, the Spider dangling behind him, and then, pretending to eat the Spider, which was ice cream. He took a bite of ice cream, put the ice cream down, tried to move the plate out of frame, and then pretended to eat the Spider. So, not meant to be like, this is how you should make your movie. Have one person do it all because you're trying to be impressive. And not to say this was impressive. I'm just saying it's the power of pre-rigging, of spending time setting things up beforehand. There were things that went outside, and I didn't, like I said before, I didn't want to just have 600 Cs sitting outside on combo stands, but I did place the combo stands. I placed the combo stands in the bags. I ran power. I did all that like the day before. So all I had to do, and I had the fixtures headed up inside, and they were DMX controlled. So I had all that ready. So when it came to the day of the shoot, I was able just to pop the heads on outside, put the boxes on the stands, and then connect power, make sure everything was talking, having the Sidus link on, connecting to Wi-Fi, and just make sure everything worked. And that was it. Thanks for joining Tailslayers. This has been pre-rigging and DMX control to make the unaccomplishable accomplishable. Probable impossibility, impossible probability. Which one is it? Using the storm damage for access points, as you do.
Yeah.
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 All right.
Yeah. Let me do it close.
All right, let's go. I think we got enough. Thank you for helping me.
Yeah, and since that boy is full of silver like blood.
Did you have a good time?
Yeah.
Yeah.